The corporate guillotine has officially dropped on the King of the South, and this time, the executioners are hip-hop's ultimate billion-dollar power couple. Less than 48 hours after a chaotic, violent backstage brawl completely shattered the elegance of the 2026 BET Awards, Jay-Z and Beyoncé have taken absolute, unprecedented action to permanently cleanse their elite circles. In a highly classified, ironclad directive issued directly from the highest offices of Roc Nation, Clifford T.I. Harris has been officially, permanently banned from every single high-profile industry event, private gala, and corporate platform under their sovereign control. Jay-Z's message to the culture was cold, ruthless, and immediate. There is absolutely zero tolerance for street-level volatility and uncontained violence on his global stages. This systemic blackballing has delivered a catastrophic, fatal blow to what was already a crumbling, blacklisted rollout for T.I.'s final retirement album, Kill the King. As the gates of the industry elite slam shut in his face, a once untouchable rap icon finds himself completely exiled, stripped of his corporate protections, and discarded by the very hierarchy he helped build. Don't blink. Don't look away. Because the chilling details of this high-level corporate execution will change everything you know about who truly rules the shadows of the music industry to truly understand the massive magnitude of how a legendary titan like T.I. could be completely erased from the industry's most exclusive spaces by Jay-Z and Beyoncé. We have to meticulously examine the deep ideological divide that has quietly fractured the hip-hop elite for the past decade. For over 25 years, Clifford T.I. Harris stood as the uncompromised King of the South, an independent powerhouse who survived high-stakes federal weapons cases, brutal street wars, and massive commercial shifts by relying purely on his raw connection to the streets and his fierce Southern autonomy. His entire grand hustle empire was built on concrete foundations where respect was earned through loyalty and neighborhood codes, not corporate boardrooms. He was a rap icon who refused to bow down to corporate gatekeepers, always traveling with a heavy, intimidating Atlanta entourage as a walking reminder of the trenches he clawed his way out of, fiercely protective of his absolute autonomy. But on the completely opposite end of the spectrum sits the sovereign multi-billion-dollar empire of Roc Nation, meticulously engineered by Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Over the last 15 years, the Carters systematically evolved past the traditional boundaries of music, transforming their brand into a pristine standard of global luxury, high-end spirit distribution, tech integration, and elite political influence. To maintain their position at the absolute pinnacle of global high society, Jay-Z enforced a strict, unwritten corporate decree. The chaotic, volatile energy of the streets must be completely stripped away before you step foot onto their white marble floors. This unspoken rule created an underlying friction that high-level industry insiders knew would eventually explode. The modern Roc Nation ecosystem operates under the strict aesthetic of pristine corporate compliance, where annual events like the legendary pre-Grammy brunch are treated more like Wall Street executive summits than rap parties. For years, T.I.'s heavy street detail, unpredictable public altercations, and unyielding street-first mentality caused immense anxiety among elite brand managers and institutional investors who fund the Carters' global ventures. The corporate hierarchy tolerated the independent king during his commercial peak, but as the landscape shifted toward total corporate compliance, the tolerance began to rapidly dry up. The internal family tension reached a dangerous tipping point during the chaotic, highly defensive rollout of T.I.'s final retirement album, Kill the King. Facing an unprecedented corporate radio blacklist and severe financial strain from complex legal battles, T.I. became increasingly vocal and combative. He openly attacked the modern music industry matrix on various media platforms, claiming that corporate gatekeepers were actively trying to suppress and starve out legendary independent artists who refused to surrender their master catalogs to the elite labels. His circle tightened, his energy became highly volatile, and he intentionally surrounded himself with his most loyal street enforcers, creating a walking pressure cooker that was running on a direct, catastrophic collision course with the hyper-sanitized boardroom aesthetic of Roc Nation. At the exact same time, Jay-Z and Beyoncé were actively finalizing massive, multi-billion-dollar corporate sponsorships and international streaming distribution mergers for the upcoming calendar year. Roc Nation's internal legal and risk assessment departments had already quietly instituted a hyper-stringent screening protocol for all major cultural gatherings, actively searching for high-profile public relations liabilities that could jeopardize their standing with conservative institutional investors. T.I.'s defensive, independent machine was viewed by the corporate elite not as a legendary brand to be celebrated, but as an active, unguided hazard waiting to ignite. The industry was already holding its breath, completely aware that the fragile alliance between raw Southern street loyalty and elite Northern corporate power was completely fraying at the edges. All it needed was one single, highly visible spark to justify a total commercial execution, and that spark erupted with absolute violence inside the VIP sanctuary of the Peacock Theater, setting off a chain reaction that would permanently lock T.I. out of the music industry matrix forever. The luxury sanctuary of the VIP Diamond Lounge, hidden deep behind the main stage of the Peacock Theater, was supposed to be an oasis of pure billionaire elegance during the live broadcast of the 2026 BET Awards. This wasn't a space for regular ticket holders or even standard media personnel. This was an ultra-exclusive, heavily guarded environment where the absolute peak of the entertainment industry, global tech founders, international fashion directors, and multi-platinum moguls could network completely away from the prying eyes of the public. The entrance was secured by elite private tactical officers directly contracted by Roc Nation to maintain total order and absolute privacy. But at exactly 8:15 p.m., the entire atmospheric chemistry of that room shifted. From high-class sophistication to immediate street-level panic, T.I. walked through those gold-trimmed doors, bypassing standard security protocols, surrounded by a deeply intimidating 12-man deep street entourage from the heart of Atlanta. They weren't dressed in the formal, high-fashion attire expected for an elite Roc Nation environment. They wore heavy, unauthorized street apparel, immediately broadcasting an aggressive, uncompromised defiance to the entire room. The physical presence of T.I.'s massive camp instantly sent an icy chill through the high-profile gathering. Witnesses inside the lounge reported that the visual contrast was jarring, and it didn't take long for the corporate apparatus of Roc Nation to respond. A high-level Roc Nation executive asset manager, tasked with maintaining strict corporate compliance and security protocols, calmly walked over to T.I.'s core group to address the situation. He quietly informed T.I. that his heavy entourage was violating the venue's strict maximum occupancy and safety guidelines, politely requesting that the majority of his street detail step outside the primary VIP zone. Instead of de-escalating the situation, a senior member of T.I.'s Atlanta detail stepped aggressively into the executive's personal space, pointing a finger directly in his face and shouting that the King of the South didn't take orders from corporate suits in New York. The verbal confrontation escalated with terrifying speed, turning a quiet, private corporate space into a ticking emotional time bomb. What happened next will go down as the most scandalous, violent backstage altercation in modern awards show history. Words instantly turned into brutal physical violence as T.I.'s street detail began throwing powerful punches at the Roc Nation private security forces. Absolute, unadulterated pandemonium erupted inside the million-dollar sanctuary. Luxury leather furniture was violently flipped over. High-end crystal champagne towers were completely shattered, sending shards of glass flying across the room, and several prominent Hollywood celebrities were forced to dive behind structural marble pillars to escape the crossfire. The brawl was an absolute storm of raw rage, lasting for nearly 7 agonizing minutes before a specialized tactical unit of the Los Angeles Police Department was forced to physically breach the backstage doors to establish order. T.I. was spotted by terrified production staff being forcefully escorted out of the building's rear exit, his designer clothing completely disheveled, his face twisted into an expression of pure, unbridled fury as police cruisers flooded the back alley. While the millions of viewers watching the live television broadcast at home only noticed a bizarre, unexplained delay in the presentation of the night's major categories, the backstage area had become an absolute corporate crime scene. The real damage, however, wasn't the broken glass or the ruined furniture. At exactly 1:30 a.m., while the internet was still buzzing with chaotic, unverified rumors of a backstage fight, the first massive, jaw-dropping twist of this entire scandal dropped like a nuclear bomb onto the desks of high-level music industry executives. An anonymous whistleblower operating deep within the legal matrix of Roc Nation leaked a highly classified, secure document to an underground music industry watch platform. It was a direct, emergency executive mandate bearing the official digital signature of Jay-Z's primary corporate counsel. The text was cold, ruthless, and completely devastating, declaring that effective immediately, Clifford T.I. Harris and any corporate entity tied to Grand Hustle Records were officially and permanently banned from entering any property, festival, or private event operated under the Roc Nation umbrella globally. The digital world completely melted down as the leaked document went viral across every social media platform. The initial reaction from fans was pure shock, assuming that Jay-Z had reacted in a moment of intense anger to protect his staff and his brand from street-level volatility. But as forensic digital analysts and entertainment lawyers began meticulously dissecting the metadata embedded within the leaked PDF file, they uncovered a terrifying, cold-blooded reality that completely inverted the narrative. The metadata revealed that the secure legal draft of this permanent ban hadn't been created after the BET Awards brawl occurred. The document had been quietly initialized, formatted, and saved by Roc Nation's legal department exactly 7 days prior to the award show. The backstage altercation wasn't the actual cause of the ban at all. It was a perfectly orchestrated corporate trap. Jay-Z didn't ban T.I. because a fight happened. The corporate apparatus had already decided to execute T.I.'s brand, and they simply used the predictable volatility of his street entourage as the flawless public relations excuse to finish him off. The betrayal was absolute, calculated, and designed to ensure T.I. could never recover his standing in the industry elite. The moment that pre-planned corporate trap was exposed, the economic foundation of T.I.'s remaining music career began to collapse in real time. This wasn't just a localized public relations dispute anymore. It was a systemic financial execution that instantly sent shockwaves through every major corporate sponsor, streaming network, and live venue promoter in the country. But as millions of fans across TikTok and X were frantically debating whether Jay-Z had overstepped his boundaries, a second, infinitely more terrifying twist dropped, completely changing the entire trajectory of the narrative. A highly secure audio recording was suddenly leaked directly to an encrypted entertainment database, reportedly captured by an internal high-end audio feed inside the Carter family's private dressing suite immediately following the BET Awards incident. The voice on the recording was instantly recognizable across the globe. It wasn't a corporate executive or a security guard. It was Beyoncé herself, speaking in a low, completely firm, and commanding tone to their global head of operations. He brought that element into our house for the last time, Beyoncé can be heard stating clearly on the leaked recording. We spent 15 years cleaning up the image of this culture to get into these corporate boardrooms, and I will not allow his street theater to compromise what we built. Strip his names from the guest lists for the pre-Grammy brunch, terminate the promotional support codes for his retirement album on the streaming platforms, and ensure his entire management team is permanently blacklisted from our offices. We are completely done. The realization of Beyoncé's direct, cold-blooded involvement hit the urban music community like an absolute tidal wave of pure psychological shock. In the music industry, getting on the wrong side of Jay-Z is a severe corporate problem, but getting officially blackballed by Beyoncé is an absolute, permanent commercial death sentence from which no artist has ever recovered. Within 12 hours of that devastating audio leak, the corporate fallout hit T.I.'s final retirement album, Kill the King, with unprecedented, apocalyptic brutality. Major streaming platforms, where Roc Nation holds massive institutional equity and board-level influence, quietly executed a comprehensive playlist purge. Kill the King was systematically stripped from the top slots of major urban music playlists. Its promotional banners were completely taken down, and the album's algorithm-driven recommendation metrics were manually set to absolute zero. Can you even begin to comprehend the psychological horror of watching your life's work, your final legacy project, get completely erased from the digital matrix by the push of a single corporate button? It was a total brand liquidation executed in the shadows. By the following afternoon, the commercial destruction accelerated across the live touring sector. Three major national venue syndicates that operate the primary stadium networks for urban music tours issued concurrent emergency notices canceling T.I.'s scheduled autumn promotional dates, citing unmanageable security risks and a sudden, total lack of institutional insurance coverage. The legendary artist, who had spent 2 decades dominating the charts, suddenly found his music completely suppressed by the streaming matrix, his live touring revenue streams entirely choked off, and his name transformed into an absolute corporate hazard. A verified screenshot of an internal email chain from Roc Nation's digital marketing division surfaced on the internet, showing that all cross-promotional data assets, historical content imagery, and collaborative archival footage involving Clifford Harris were to be permanently archived and removed from active corporate channels. T.I.'s management team attempted to release a brief statement downplaying the situation as a minor misunderstanding, but the statement was instantly drowned out when T.I. himself completely wiped his official digital channels, leaving nothing but an image of a dark, empty crown resting on a block of concrete. The entire hip-hop ecosystem is currently paralyzed with tension. Inside sources from the Atlanta music underground are leaking to the press that T.I. has called an emergency closed-door meeting of his core street and legal advisors at his private compound, with rumors swirling that he is preparing a massive counterstrike. He isn't going down quietly. Whisper networks indicate he is sitting on a series of encrypted files that threaten to expose the dark financial secrets of Roc Nation itself, setting up a terrifying standoff that could completely incinerate the reputations of hip-hop's highest billionaires. The global entertainment space has officially transformed into a literal war zone of ideological commentary. The complete, unprecedented shattering of the Harris dynasty's industry access has forced every single major voice in hip-hop to step forward, completely dividing the culture between those who view T.I. as a tragic, fallen hero of the independent music movement and those who see him as the toxic architect of his own self-destruction. The digital landscape didn't just react. It completely exploded into an unyielding firestorm of viral opinions, structural divisions, and deep-seated corporate panic. Millions of fans across the globe are frantically downloading old interview tapes and rewatching every second of the 2026 BET Awards live footage, trying to spot the exact moment the backstage security clash began to spill over into their legacy brand assets. During a highly anticipated emergency morning episode of his top-rated podcast, Joe Budden literally slammed his studio headphones onto the hardwood floor, screaming directly into his microphone about the terrifying corporate consolidation taking over the music business. "I told you guys last week," Budden thundered, his voice shaking with intense excitement. This is exactly how the billionaire matrix operates. When a legendary independent artist tries to step completely outside the sovereign distribution wheels and fight for his autonomy, the corporate gatekeepers don't just hit the studio, they completely freeze the home. T.I. tried to carry the weight of an entire independent empire on his back, and his access became the ultimate collateral damage. Finding out that the system can manually delete your playlist slots and cancel your arena insurance overnight because of a 7-minute backstage dispute is a different level of structural execution. The king has no castle left to defend, and the Carters just proved who owns the keys to the entire kingdom. Simultaneously, prominent cultural commentators and scholars released intense video analyses from their respective headquarters, framing the sudden Roc Nation ban as a necessary, long overdue enforcement of high-level accountability. They argued that the culture cannot continuously demand billionaire-level respect from global investors while operating on a volatile street-level frequency. They claimed that bringing a 12-man deep street detail to engage in a primitive brawl inside an elite, private corporate lounge is a devastating example of self-sabotage that justifies an immediate institutional removal. They warn the community that you cannot burn down the very boardrooms you fought for 2 decades to enter, calling on modern artists to permanently leave the street codes behind if they want to protect their multi-million-dollar legacies. Predictably, T.I.'s most relentless digital adversary, 50 Cent, immediately recognized the absolute goldmine of industry drama and launched a vicious, multi-post cyber attack on his official page. He uploaded a heavily photoshopped graphic showing Jay-Z and Beyonce sitting on gold royal thrones, while T.I. was depicted as a broke street performer holding a cardboard sign begging for playlist placements. Oh man, the caption read, "The corporate guillotine is real." I told you, Cliff. You can't bring the whole block to the billionaire's brunch. Shorty don't even have an insurance policy for the tour anymore. Somebody check. On Grand Hustle, they might start a real war outside the offices. The comment section under the post immediately became a digital coliseum, with millions of users fiercely arguing whether the trolling was pure comedic genius or a disgusting betrayal of solidarity during a critical industry crisis. Across international internet forums and major urban blogs, the public is completely locked in a massive state of total division between Team Carter and Team Grand Hustle. On one side, fans are shouting that Roc Nation did exactly what a responsible corporate entity had to do to protect its global brand integrity from uncontained street violence. On the other side, diehard Southern rap loyalists argue that T.I. is the ultimate victim of a calculated corporate execution designed to force him into surrendering his independent publishing catalog. The massive economic impact of this public fracture is already paralyzing regional operations, with major luxury brands and regional corporate entities officially pulling their high six-figure sponsorship deals from any upcoming event associated with the Grand Hustle name. The financial empire that took a quarter of a century to build is actively turning to absolute dust on the global stage, and a leaked internal network memo hints that a high-level corporate freeze is about to hit every single asset tied to his legacy, fueling rumors that the absolute point of no return has already been crossed. Just when the global collective audience believed the absolute peak of this historic industry execution had been reached, the narrative didn't just twist, it experienced a total, catastrophic inversion that has left the entire music industry completely paralyzed. At exactly 3:45 a.m., T.I. completely broke his digital blackout, bypassing all traditional media outlets and launching an unannounced, encrypted live-stream broadcast directly from the heavily secured master control room of his private compound in Atlanta. He did not come to issue an emotional apology, he did not come to negotiate a truce, and he did not come to beg for his frozen playlist slots back. Instead, he came to launch a full-scale nuclear counteroffensive against the billionaire hierarchy. Holding up a military-grade, encrypted external hard drive directly in front of his camera lens, T.I. dropped the final, earth-shattering bombshell of this entire corporate war. The backstage brawl at the BET Awards wasn't caused by a petty dispute over a heavy entourage or venue occupancy rules. T.I. went to that VIP Diamond Lounge specifically to confront Jay-Z over a secret, predatory paper trail detailing a massive, hidden financial acquisition plot. The realization of this counter-reveal is absolutely terrifying and completely flips the script on who the real villain of this industry tragedy actually is. According to T.I.'s explosive, unedited live statement, he recently uncovered a highly classified network of offshore shell corporations directly managed by Roc Nation's primary financial holding group. The documents on that encrypted drive allegedly prove that over the last 7 years, Jay-Z's corporate entity has been quietly, systematically buying up the distressed debt, master recordings, and publishing catalogs of legendary independent Southern hip-hop artists who faced severe financial hardships during the industry's harsh shift to streaming algorithms. T.I. claimed that his own final retirement album, Kill the King, was deliberately targeted with an artificial corporate radio and streaming blacklist over the past few months to intentionally dry up his operational liquidity. The goal was to force him into an impossible financial corner where he would have no choice but to sell the multi-million-dollar Grand Hustle catalog to Roc Nation for pennies on the dollar. The legendary artist looked directly into the camera lens, his expression stone-cold, devoid of any remaining industry fear, and completely locked into a state of total warfare. "You thought you could use your corporate matrix to starve me out, Sean," T.I. said with a dangerous, quiet confidence, using Jay-Z's actual legal first name to signal that all professional courtesy was officially dead. "You thought I would stay quiet while your wife signed an executive order to erase my name from the culture I bled for. I didn't bring my entourage to that lounge to start a fight. I brought them to serve your asset managers with official fraud and antitrust litigation papers. You didn't ban me to protect your corporate brunch. You banned me because you are completely terrified of what is sitting on this hard drive." But the absolute ultimate cliffhanger, the one that has sent immediate panic through the high-level legal departments of every major television network and music streaming platform, came in the final 15 seconds of T.I.'s broadcast. He clicked a single button on his studio laptop, flashing a series of heavily encrypted audio files onto the screen, labeled with internal dates from Roc Nation's private board meetings spanning the last 3 years. "You think I'm only talking about my own catalog, Sean?" T.I. laughed coldly as the stream's viewer count crossed 2 million concurrent users. "This drive doesn't just contain my paperwork. It contains the recorded board meetings showing exactly how you and your tech partners coordinated the artificial algorithmic suppression of independent hip-hop to force us into submission. And at exactly noon tomorrow, my legal team is releasing the decryption keys to every major federal regulatory board in this country. Let's see how clean your corporate palace looks when the antitrust division breaches the front doors." The live stream instantly cut to dead black, leaving a completely stunned global audience suspended over an absolute abyss of unresolved suspense. The countdown to the ultimate industry execution has officially begun, and nobody is safe from the incoming blast radius. T.I. is currently locked in his compound with absolute silence coming from the Carter camp, completely aware that the ticking clock is running out. Did Jay-Z really engineer a predatory corporate blacklist to steal T.I.'s independent legacy, or is T.I. deploying the ultimate desperation play to save his career? Will those encrypted boardroom tapes actually drop at noon tomorrow, or will the Carter legal machine execute an emergency federal injunction to silence him forever? Drop your absolute thoughts in the comments below right now, because corporate lawyers are trying to scrub this video fast. To get the exclusive breakdown the exact second the decryption keys leak, smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and turn on all notifications immediately. Stay alert and do not look away.